What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with some hot topics, you guys. So this is going to be the week's hottest topics for this is number 69. This is the week of June the 26th through July the 1st. You guys, can you guys believe we are already in July, and my birthday is in 15 days, you guys. I'm so excited. 33 years old. I don't really have any plans for my birthday, but hey, we will see what we're gonna do when we get toward that date. But yeah, you guys, these are like I said, these are the hot topics for the week of the June 26th through July the 1st. So with that, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me, pay for it at the end of it. Do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on those post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And you guys, with that out the way, without further ado, let us discuss what is hot and what is trending this week, shall we? All right, you guys. So we're gonna go out of order of my notes, because the first thing at the top of my notes, I don't want to talk about that just yet, because I know that's going to be a long subject and a long topic that we're going to do. So we'll start up with the first thing that I saw. So Brittany Griner, you guys know Brittany Griner from the WNBA. I forget who she plays for, but you guys know that we've been talking about Brittany Griner. I don't think I've discussed Brittany Griner, but I know everyone has been, all over YouTube. It's been all over the news about Brittany Griner being detained over in Russia. And Brittany Griner has been in Russia since, how long has she been in Russia? I think this all started back in the early part of the year, like around February or so, right? Brittany Griner has been in Russia for quite some time. And at this point, it doesn't, I hate to say this, but at this point, it really doesn't look that promising that Brittany is coming home. Her trial starts today, which is Friday. I'm recording this Friday morning, but her trial starts today. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that I heard that if Brittany is convicted, that her sentence could be like at least, I think it's like 7 or 10 years, and that's a long time. And I also really, when it comes to Brittany and her situation, you see it on the news, but it just doesn't feel like anything has been done in the U.S. to try to get her home. I know that they got that one guy who was over in Russia for 3 years. I know that they got him home, and then there's Brittany Griner that's over there, and there's another guy that's over there as well. And the one guy that came home about a month or so ago, who's actually here in Texas, he did an interview with Good Morning America, and he was talking about how he feels that everything needs to be done to get both Brittany Griner home and that other gentleman. Now, I think the biggest reason that he got out is because there was a guy here in the U.S. that Russia wanted. There's a Russian citizen, so they did basically a swap for swap. And when it comes to Brittany Griner, I feel like with her, since I can't even say she's high profile, but since she's a WNBA superstar, part of me feels like with Russia, it is a tactic, right? It's we got one of yours, and somebody that a lot of people might know. So it's like ransom, hostage. That's what it gives to me. It feels like Russia, especially that bitch Vladimir Putin. It just feels like they are holding her as a bargaining tool, basically. And I hate that. I really hate that. And I hate the fact, because I know the last time I saw her wife on GMA, when she was talking to Robin Roberts, she has not spoken to Brittany in some time. And I can't even imagine what that feels like for her wife and for Brittany to be. It's one thing to be in jail in the US. You get your one phone call, and then even after that, you can call your people, but you have a limited time that you can talk to them. Brittany is in a whole different country, has not spoke to her wife or her child. Whenever she does come back to the U.S., I just pray for her mental state. And I really do, because I know that being over there has had to have taken a toll on her. So I'm gonna lift her up, and I'm gonna lift her up in prayer, and I'm gonna lift her family up in prayer. And also, when it comes down to it, it should let the commission, it should let the NBA as well as the WNBA, it should light a fire under their ass, because a lot of women in the WNBA, they don't get paid what the men get paid. They don't get paid like LeBron James, like, you know, Kevin Durant. They don't get paid the money that those men get paid. I don't even think they get paid a small fraction of what they get paid. They don't, because I've heard the salaries that the WNBA women make, and I'm like, that is it? That's it? And I've watched some WNBA games, and they're amazingly talented women, but to make up the money that they don't make here in the States, they have to go off to these different countries to make the money. And I think at this point it's time for the WNBA to sit down and say, hey, what can we do to make sure that situations like what happened with Brittany doesn't happen with anybody else, so they don't have to go to these different. And now, even with men, I know that some men, go play abroad because they don't get on the NBA teams. That's fine, but also pay people what they're worth. I think that's the moral of my story. Pay your people what they are worth. Now, if they then choose to go play, overseas and whatnot, that's on them. But if you at least pay them what they're worth, maybe they won't have to do it. Just maybe. But yeah, you guys, let's keep Brittany Griner lifted up in prayers. Let's lift up her family in prayers. I can't imagine what that feeling is like. It's got to be the most scariest thing to deal with. But yeah, prayers up to Brittany, her wife, her family, her loved ones. Let's lift them up in prayer, you guys, and let's move forward. All right, you guys, so since I'm talking about legal stuff, let's talk about British Williams from Basketball Wives. So you guys know British Williams has that legal case was it fraud and money laundering? Girl, y'all gotta be smarter about, if you're gonna commit a crime, be smart about the shit. Don't be sloppy. Don't just be smart about shit. When you're gonna commit a crime, be smart about the shit at least. So you guys know she is still, now she hasn't even gone to court yet. So I know that I saw in the blogs yesterday that, she's on house arrest, and that she says that she's losing money, because she's on house arrest, she has an ankle monitor on, so she's asking the judge to take the ankle monitor off. Girl, good luck with that. Them judges are not, most times them judges wouldn't, I don't know any judge is going to take that ankle monitor off because, you're losing money. British, I think you would have lost money either way it went. I'm not trying to be funny and I'm not trying to be shady, but I think you would have lost money either way it went, because, when you look at your charges, fraud and money laundering, right? Who the fuck gonna want to do business with you at that point? Because I'm gonna be like, well, shit, if she stole from these people, what's to say she won't steal from me? So you guys know Rihanna with her Fenty line. You guys know she has a lot of social media people who have, endorsements with her. And I always wonder, I know how social media influencers work, because I've had some people reach out to me to be an influencer for them. And the way it works is whenever people say use my promo code, when you go to the website and you buy the product and you put in the promo code, we get a percentage of the sales. Like maybe, because I know I forget how much mine is. The one promo that I do have, you get a percentage of, and sometimes it can be up to 30% that you get from the revenue. So British is saying that so she's with Rihanna, she's with Savage Fenty, I think it's Savage, right? So she says that she is losing $30,000. Is it a month or just? I think it's $30,000 a month. And I was wondering, when it comes to Rihanna, when it comes to that whole Savage Fenty with Rihanna, is she is she a social media influencer who has a promo code, and when she tells her people to go buy from the website, Do they spend 300? Damn. How much money do you have to? I mean, is that what happens, or does she have like a contract with Rihanna? But I know these girls don't. I know these girls don't want to lose anything with Rihanna because of the name alone. It's Rihanna. Like, bitch, I don't want to lose my shit, my standing with Rihanna. Like, hell nah. But again, with British should have just. I mean, British, you literally should have thought about. You should have thought about everything that you were like. You should have thought about the pros and the cons when you were doing what you were doing, allegedly. Like, you really should have thought about that. It just, I'm just like, you didn't think nothing about that? Nothing. Nothing. Not even a small percentage? Like this? So, yeah, I just think that maybe, and hell, with the photo shoot, girl, all you got to do is be clever. Because I saw somebody. It was a TV show where was it a TV show where somebody had an ankle monitor on and they were clever with that ankle monitor. They covered that motherfucker up. Girl, cover that hoe up. Either cover the motherfucker up, or when you're taking your photos, be like, position your legs some kind of way so that way they can't see it, or tell them, hey, I need you to crop. Well, she can't even leave the house. She can't even leave the house, so she can't do a photo shoot. Well, girl, you have to do photo shoots in your home. You have to hire your own photographer and say, hey, I'm on house arrest. Can you come over to the crib and take my photos and then crop out that goddamn ankle monitor? You'd have to do something like that. You would have to get creative. You would have to get creative. But yeah, British, I can't feel bad for British, you guys. I really, truly can't. I can't. You do, like I'm gonna say about two other people. You do the crime, you gotta do the time. And your time is losing that money. So, I don't really feel 100% bad for British, you guys. But yeah, let's pause here and move forward. Alright, you guys, so next up, let's talk about Wendy Williams, you guys. We have been talking about Wendy Williams for quite some time now, you guys. God, we've been talking about Wendy for a long time. So did you guys see that interview that Wendy did with Harvey Levin, and I forget what that black man's name is on TMZ? Wendy, once again, I talk about her wig. I've never saw Wendy with because her wig, it just looked like it was just. I mean, it wasn't styled or nothing. I'm like, why do y'all let Wendy go on camera looking like this? I just don't understand why her team is letting her go on camera do an interview looking like that. That is not the Wendy that I know. Baby, the Wendy that I know always came on camera with her wig laid. Like that wig was laid. This wig was not. It was frizzy. It was like, that is not the Wendy Williams that I've known over the years. And it was just bothering me. And watching that interview, I cringed. Especially when she asked them, do they know what lymphedema is? And I think it was Harvey who said no, he doesn't know what. It was either Harvey or the other guy who said no, I don't know what lymphedema is. And Wendy lifted up her foot. I was like, oh my God. When she lifted her foot up, I was looking at how discolored it was. I was like, wow. Because I don't know much about lymphedema. So it makes sense. Remember when I have been talking about people were spotting Wendy in a wheelchair? Well, it makes sense because Wendy said that she had been in a wheelchair because she can't feel her feet. I'm like, oh, I think it's that foot. And I was like, oh, wow. So that's why she's in a wheelchair. It's not because she's, out of her mind or whatever. It's because she can't feel her feet, so she stands up. I wonder, because you guys know how, like when you sit on the toilet for too long and you get up and your feet start tingling and you be like, oh shit, I can't move. I really do feel bad for Wendy. I pray for Wendy. I really do pray for Wendy, and I want the best for Wendy, and I would love to see Wendy in a podcast. But like I said, I don't know what her team is doing, because that Wendy that was in that interview, that's not the Wendy that I'm used to seeing. Because the Wendy that I'm used to seeing, she's always on it. Her makeup is done. Her wig is laid. And it just wasn't giving Wendy. It wasn't giving Wendy Williams. Do I think Wendy could do a podcast? Mm, I think Wendy could do a podcast if you don't see her on camera. If Wendy is just behind the mic, she could do that. I feel like if Wendy was behind the mic, she can do that. If Wendy is on camera, absolutely not. I don't think she can. Especially if she's in that gaudy ass apartment. Wendy's apartment, my lord, that apartment gives me anxiety, especially when I saw that, especially when the pandemic first started and she was filming in that kitchen. That gave me anxiety when I saw all that shit that was in her kitchen. But do I think Wendy could do the podcast? Yes, to an extent. Like I just said, I feel like Wendy can do a podcast if she is not physically on camera. If Wendy is just coming from us from her home, a computer and a microphone, or even in the studio with a microphone, I think Wendy could do that. But as far as her being on camera, I don't think Wendy is ready to be on camera just yet. I just don't feel it. I don't feel that Wendy is ready to be on camera. But you guys can let me know what you feel about that situation with Wendy. And we are going to pause here, you guys, and we're going to move forward. I got to go up to my desk real quick to log in, and I'll be back. All right, you guys, so I am back and with an outfit change. So let's wrap up these last few topics that we have to discuss, you guys. So the next story that I want to talk about is going to be some people that are going to be locked up. They won't let me out. I'm locked up. So actually, they're actually locked up, but they have gotten their sentencing. So the first person up is Robert.
Platinum VIP comes with unique series.
The first person up is Robert Sylvester Kelly, you guys. So you guys know R. Kelly has been dealing with his legal issues for quite some time now, right? So this week, I think it was Wednesday when I saw it on social media, that R. Kelly has been sentenced to 30 years in prison. I was like, God damn. So I'm like, by the time R. Kelly gets out of prison, because like he's 50 something years old now, plus another 30 years, you're going to be old. You're going to be old. And, it's about time that justice is served for those young men and women who have had to suffer the abuse from R. Kelly. Now, I know R. Kelly, he's been abused in his past as well. So R. Kelly, in this particular instance, he's not a victim. He is the abuser. He is, he's and I spoke about this when I spoke about Bill Cosby last week or the week before. Like, when I just can't stand it when you see influential men, more specifically influential men who have this, this notoriety about them, and they prey on or they manipulate young women or men to do things, because they think that that's going to help them, achieve a certain status, become a record, become a musician, be on the road touring, making music videos, recording albums, maybe even do a movie if they're acting on television shows or in movies, and they use that power to then do what they do to people. If there is one thing in this world that I can't stand, is someone who preys on children, the elderly, the defenseless, and women. Those are things those are people that I can't stand when they do those kind of things. It grinds my gears. But yeah. And I know there are people who defend R. Kelly. Honest to God, I don't know how anybody could defend R. Kelly. It's just mind-blowing that anybody could defend him. But there are people that defend him. And if you guys are one of those people that defend R. Kelly, you guys can defend him. And you guys can let me know why you defend him in the comments. Like, I would love to know if anybody defends R. Kelly, I would love to know why. I would love to know why. And I'm not going to pass any judgment. I'm just asking a question of, what is there to support? Do I listen? And you might ask, well, JB, do you listen to R. Kelly's music? Not particularly his music, no. Now, I know that there are artists out there that he's worked with in the past Do I still listen to their music? Yes. Yes, I do. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, because that's gonna be, because if you guys know me, I'm an old school guy. I don't really listen to the music of today. I listen to music from the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, and even music that my parents and grandparents, my parents and my parents, my mom, my biological, my mother who raised me. I even listened to some of her music, like the Temptations and all that stuff. So I don't listen to today's music, sprinkles of it, but not that much. Like I said, I'm more of an old school person. Like people always tell me that I sound like I'm like an old soul. So yeah, I love old school music. So I haven't. So yeah, as far as R. Kelly, a song specifically by R. Kelly, I don't listen to it. But it's kind of hard for me to say I can't listen to anybody else's music that he's worked with, because he worked with a lot of people in his time. So it's going to be difficult. But yeah, he's been sentenced to 30 years in prison. Good luck to you, buddy. I don't feel nothing for R. Kelly. I really, truly, honestly, I don't. And you guys know the reason why I feel the way I feel. Because of my situation, me being taken advantage of. And, that's why I have an issue when it comes to anybody who takes advantage of people. I just have an issue with it. So the next person that was sentenced to prison time is her name Elaine, whatever that woman's name is, the one that was, involved with Jeffrey Epstein. God, I wish Jeffrey Epstein were still here to, see a trial, but unfortunately he's not here, and I don't do conspiracy theories, so I'm not going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein too deeply. But Ghislaine Maxwell, she has been sentenced to 25 years in prison. So her and R. Kelly are going to be around the same age honestly, with her and R. Kelly, I hate to be so morbid, but I don't think that they're ever going to get out of, I think by the time that they get out of prison, the only thing that's coming out of prison with them is a corpse. I hate to say it, but because they're both in their 50s. So you add 30 years, they'll be damn near, they'll be in their 70s, because I don't know their exact age, so they'll be 70, close to 80. So they ain't gonna have, and I hate to say it like this again, but at that point in their lives, they ain't gonna have much time left on this earth. I don't mean to be so morbid, but with those two, they won't have much life to live, unfortunately, because they'll be elderly. And with Robert, actually, and with those two, with those crimes, I wouldn't want them to ever see the light of day again anyways. I just really wouldn't. And you guys, again, if you guys support either one of them two, I would love to know, well, more specifically R. Kelly, I would like to know what it is about R. Kelly. I wish that the people who the accomplices, the people who knew what he, and that's what still bothers me to this day, even because I watched a documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, and I just still can't for the life of me understand how people could sit there and facilitate the bullshit, bringing these young men and women to him. You lured people to him under the illusion that he was going to help them musically. So people slept with him thinking that he's going to help me in my career. Repugnant, disgusting. That's what I can't get with. Once again, it's a use of power. You're exerting your power over people that don't have access to the things that you have access to, and you know that. And you know that you have no intentions of helping them. You just want what you want. Yeah, you guys, I'm sorry, but I don't feel nothing for R. Kelly. Don't feel nothing for him. But like I said, drop down in the comment section if you guys support R. Kelly. I really would love to know why. And again, I'm not judging. I want to know what it is that you support. Do you think, when it comes to R. Kelly, do you feel like, hey, it's the parents' fault? The parents, or some of the parents put their daughters and sons in that situation. So let's blame the parents. Like, let me know what it is if anybody supports him. Again, no judgment from me whatsoever. No judgment. Absolutely none. I don't judge people. That is between you and God and him. That's between you and your God. I don't judge people. So yeah. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. And let's pause here. Let's move forward. All right, you guys. So the next thing that we want to talk about is the drama with B2K. So after the verses last Thursday night, the shit went down between Omarion, well, it really didn't go down between Omarion and the group. So Omarion is so interesting when it comes to Omarion. Omarion puts up that whole Zen front, right? That he's so Zen, he's so unbothered. But brother man is very much bothered because I know Raz-B, I know J-Boog, and Fizz, they all went on social media and basically, I know somebody put up the meme from the Temptations movie with Leon when he was playing David Ruffin. I know they put that clip up, and they said, it was basically like you got served, which he 100% did get served. And like I said in my last week when I was talking about it in the Hot Topics, I said it about Omarion. Omarion, especially with a lot of people at the Verses, you realize that a lot of them are studio singers. Like they can sing in the well, they can't sing, period, but they get in the studio, in the booth, and they sing. And with the mixing and mastering, and I don't even know, with Omarion and the rest of them, even with Jeremiah, no, I don't know. So Jeremiah came out Birthday Sex. I was 20 years old at that time when Birthday Sex came out. Okay, so T-Pain was already out when Jeremiah came out. So Jeremiah could have been auto-tuned. Jeremiah could be very much so auto-tuned. Because when Jeremiah got on that stage and he started singing, I was like, nigga, what the hell is this? And I'm like, so damn, my non-singing ass, who I can, and I'm like, I can't even, I don't think I'm the best singer, but I know I can sing better than Jeremiah. I know I can sing better than that. At least I can hold a tune. I don't know what that was that Jeremiah was doing, because it was horrible. So, like I said, that verses let you know a lot of these artists, some of them, not a lot, but some of these artists are studio singers, and they're not. But I think that's most people can be a studio artist. You can sing. Some people can sing in the comfort of the booth, but then when they get in front of a crowd, you can be you can have nerves, so your voice will start cracking with the nerves and stuff like that. So that's not to say that everybody who's a studio singer can't sing. It just means so some studio singers can't sing, period, and some just can't sing in front of a live audience or a crowd of people. Jeremiah's not one of them. I don't know what Omarion is. I still can't pinpoint what kind of singer Omarion is, but it ain't the best. And that verses showed. So Mr. Unbothered was bothered about his group members saying that he got served. Well, he didn't like that, so he called them three his backup dancers. I was like, oh wow, so that's how you feel. Well, J-Boog, he wasn't too fond of him saying that they were, the backup dancers. J-Boog went off on him on social media, and I was like, well, damn, tell us how you really feel. And I mean, I was looking at it, I was like, wow, this is a lot of shit to just sort through. I haven't read everything yet, you guys, because I have pulled it up on a web browser, because I know he deleted it. I didn't read everything, but he laid into Omarion. And when I think about some of the things that he did say about Omarion, he was right about quite a few things. Although Omarion was the lead singer of B2K, when you think back to the early part of the 2000s, especially if you guys think back to like BET with 106 in Park, because I used to watch 106 in Park. When I got out of school every day, I was glued to 106 in Park just to see who was going to be there on the show with free. That was back when Free and AJ were there. Oh my God, you guys, I was so hurt. So let's think about 106 and Park real quick, you guys. Let's just go down memory lane. Free and Park started 106 and Park. Free and AJ started 106 and Park. Then we got Tigger and Jalissa. I wanted to find the Tigger and Jalissa, but I watched it when they were there. I wasn't the biggest fan of them two. Then after Tigger and Jalissa left, it was Roxy and Terrence. That was when I left. I left after Roxy and when Terrence and Roxy came in. I was done with 106 and Park at that point because Terrence is too corny. Terrence J is very corny. I don't see the appeal with Terrence J. And Roxy, I didn't like Roxy. I didn't like Roxy at all. I wasn't a fan of Roxy Diaz. And then after Roxy and Terrence, it was when they got Bow Wow. He hosted it. Who did he host it with? Now, I can definitely tell you when Bow Wow hosted 106 and Park, I never watched one episode of 106 and Park when Bow Wow hosted. So I know he had three, it was three of them at one point. It was three of them. I want to say, was Angela on there at one point, you guys? Let me know. Because I just don't remember who the hosts were when it was Bow Wow. Because especially by the time Bow Wow came on, by the time Bow Wow hosted 106 and Park, how old was I when Bow Wow hosted? Because Bow Wow's, 2 years older than I am? So Bow Wow, I think he was in his late teens. No, he was in his 20s at the time, right? I think it was probably my last few years of high school. But by the time Bow Wow came on to host 106 and Park, I was no longer watching it. But when 106 and Park was first starting, when B2K used to go on 106 and Park, you would see the girls all screaming over them. And most of them weren't screaming, because J Boog was talking about Omarion. Kind of sounded like it was a bit of jealousy. Because when you think about B2K, it wasn't always, although Omarion was the lead singer, most people, my friends that I knew, especially when I was in middle school, the girls were crazy about Fizz because of his hair and J Boog. And then there were some who liked Raz B. But the top two people that, especially when I was in middle school and middle school, because I remember the posters everywhere, the people that everybody would be crazy about was Boog and Fizz. Never Omarion. It was never Omarion that my friends were crazy about. It was never Omarion. It was always Fizz and J Boog. And number one was Fizz because of him being light skinned and his hair. Sad to say that at that age, that colorism. But that's who the people were, all here for, not Omarion. And I don't think, from what Boog was saying, Omarion wasn't too fond of that shit. And I can imagine. And then he's talking about, Omarion wasn't, he wasn't always in the studio when they were recording the songs. It was somebody else that was there that was recording, and Omarion wouldn't sing. Boog he said he did a lot of the sing. Sometimes he sang he sang more on the songs than Omarion. It was a whole ass mess. With B2K, but we saw stuff with B2K. They've had their issues for quite some time, and I really do feel bad for them, because you can see that it's a lot of stuff, and I'm like, damn. But a lot of their issues come from, oh God, Chris Stokes. Chris Stokes was a lot of their issue as well. I also know that Boog said that initially nobody was interested in B2K. And that's interesting. I'm going to be honest with you guys. So I only know one B2K album, and that's their first album. That was the only album that I ever owned, was B2K's first album. After that, I didn't listen to no more. I know after that first album, I know their singles, like Bump, 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 and everything like that. I bought the first album. That was it. After that, I wasn't too much interested. I ain't gonna say I wasn't too much interested in B2K. The music just wasn't, it wasn't for me after that. Actually, Bump 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 is the last song that I remember from B2K. Is that? Yep, that's the last song I. Did I have anything after Bump Bump Bump? You guys, let me know in the comment section because that's the last song I remember. That is literally the last song that I remember from B2K. But let me know whose side you guys fall on. Do you fall on the Marion side or J Boogs? Leave it in the comment section below, and we are going to move forward, guys. All right, you guys. So next up, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Roe versus Wade being overturned. So Roe versus Wade was overturned last Friday after I posted my video. And we had already talked about this, you guys. We talked about it when that draft came out earlier this year. Actually, a few months ago, we talked about it, and I told you guys how I felt about it. And I still have the same feelings. I was upset when I saw it, but I wasn't as upset because we already knew that it was coming. So the Supreme Court it was overturned by 6-3, I believe. And also, speaking of which, Judge Ketanji Brown, she was, sworn in yesterday. So congratulations to her being the first African American woman to serve on the Supreme Court. I have an issue with the Supreme Court because also in the same week the Supreme Court they did something with the Second Amendment, not Second Amendment. They did something regarding guns in New York City, where I feel like what it is like what Texas is, open carry. You can carry your gun wherever. Open conceal or something like that. And the thing that I have an issue with is the fact that a gun has more constitutional rights than a woman has in this country now. It's just bothersome. And then you see so many people, like you see these women, like that nutcase Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, praise God that this has happened. Then you got this dumb bitch, Lauren Boebert from Colorado. You got this dumb hoe talking about the separation of church and state. And a lot of people keep talking about the Constitution and our founding fathers. And I see a lot of women talking about that. And then that dumb bitch Clarence Thomas. I want y'all to know one thing, and hear me loudly when I say this to women and black men that are Republicans. You do realize when the founding fathers wrote the Constitution that the Constitution was written for specifically white men and white men only. Women were considered property, as well as black people. Black people weren't even considered human beings. So when you guys want to uphold this damn Constitution, again, that Constitution, women, you were basically a sex slave. All you were good for was laying down in the bed, letting a man have sex with you, impregnating you, and having his kids. That was all you were to a man when the Constitution was written. You were a concubine. Basically, you meant nothing to them. All they wanted to do was have sex with you and impregnate you, and you carried that baby to term and have that baby. You couldn't vote. You couldn't do anything. So for you ladies in the Republican Party that love to talk about, oh, we're gonna uplift the Constitution, what our founding fathers wanted. Your founding fathers also wanted you to just be a bed wench. A bed wench. He didn't want you to do anything else but bear his children. Keep that in mind. And Clarence Thomas, you fat bitch. You fat ass bitch. Yo dumb ass. You fat sack of shit. If you're upholding the Constitution, your black ass would be a motherfucking slave out here in the hot fucking sun picking cotton, you bitch. And then that fat pig of a wife that fat pig of a bitch you call a wife, you wouldn't be able to sleep with her because, again, you weren't human and black men couldn't be with a white woman. So yeah. And then while we're talking about overturning Roe versus Wade, how about we overturn Loving versus Virginia so that way you and that fat slob you call a wife can't sleep together? Would you go for that, Clarence? How you feel about that? I don't think Clarence Thomas would love that. I think Clarence Thomas would have a fucking fit about that. Let's overturn that. Let's overturn Loving versus Virginia. And he's also talking about overturning same-sex same-sex relationships and same-sex marriage and contraceptives. So I've noticed that people on social media, this is the most ignorant shit that I've ever heard in my life. So now people are saying, well, if women don't want to have a baby, don't have sex. What? Don't have sex. You know what? I'm going to say this. If they want to say don't have sex with men. Have sex with another woman. Have sex with yourself. But don't have sex with a man. Because that sounds stupid. Do you see how stupid that sounded? That's how dumb that sounds to say don't have sex. As if a woman is getting herself pregnant by herself. It takes two. It takes a man and a woman to have sex to create a baby. And then, this is the most disgusting part for me. I saw a senator from Texas talk about this. I saw Sonny Hostin talk about this on The View this week. So people are asking, do you feel that there's an exception to an abortion? They say no. Most of them say, well, the only exception is if it's an ectopic pregnancy or if the woman is in danger of dying. And then they say, well, what about, the incest and the other one, RAPE, that one. And they don't find an exception with that. I'm like, that's disgusting. So this woman so if her father is abusing her, or if a man that she doesn't know abuses her and gets her pregnant, that's a violation in itself. That's one violation. Then if she gets pregnant, that's a second violation. And so she has no control of when that first violation happens. And then because of that first violation, then you want to sit here and tell her she has no control of the second violation. And I know people say that, and I know babies are a miracle. But you guys, when I think about a baby that is created out of abuse, I can't honestly say to you guys that baby is a blessing. I can't really say that. I can't say that baby is a blessing, because that baby was not planned. That baby was not wanted. And then when I think about, you got people who have kids and they're going to be on welfare, and you guys know how they feel about welfare. They don't like that. Then there's no fucking formula on the shelves. So what are people supposed to do? They can breastfeed. Not every woman can breastfeed. Not every woman produces enough milk. Not every baby latches onto their mother's breast. So you guys sound stupid. And then adoption and, the foster care system, that is fucked up and flawed. And then you're going to have more abused children. It's just like y'all only care about it until it's born. Once that baby is born, you don't give a flying frizzle frack about that baby at that point. And that's what just upsets me and annoys me to no avail. Oh God, it's just pissing me. It pisses me off. It really does. It really does piss me off. I had something else that I wanted to say, and I forgot what I wanted to say. But I don't get it, you guys. I don't get it. I know that I heard this morning that President Biden wants them to end the filibuster so that the way they can, make some laws about that. I hope something happens, you guys. I really do hope something happens, because I just don't understand how you can justify. That's what I wanted to say. I know what I want to say now. I feel like at this point the separation of church and state is gone, because with this Supreme Court, it is far right. This is a far right Supreme Court. And I feel like when it comes to them, here's my thing. If you want to say because it feels like now we're going off of things that are in the Bible. And there are a lot of things that are in the Bible that are a sin. So should we make those laws? It's a sin to lie. It's a sin to steal. It's a sin to commit adultery. It's a sin to have premarital sex. It's a sin, so they say, to masturbate. So those things that are sins, are we now going to turn those into laws in this country? Because if that's the case, a lot of everyone in this country would be in jail if we go off of the Bible. And then also when it comes down to it, to me, it's an imposition, like you guys are imposing your religion onto other people. There are people who are atheists who don't believe in God. They don't pray to God. They don't pray to God. They don't believe in your God. So now because you say, oh, it's against my religion to have an abortion, you're imposing your religion onto someone else, and that's not right. Like, you're imposing your religion onto someone else. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. You're imposing your religion onto someone else. Why? My thing is, if you don't want an abortion, that is fine. Don't have an abortion, but don't then sit here on your moral high horse and try to dictate to what, because that's exactly what it feels like now, that we're dictating to people, more specifically, we're dictating to women what they can and cannot do with their body. And I don't understand why it's a bunch of old ass men who are doing this. And I mean, you guys do know that there's a such thing as a private abortion, right? And speaking of, I want to speak on this, and then we'll move on and wrap up. So, did you guys see there was a rally that you know who had, and there was a woman that got on stage and said, "Thank you, you know who, for saving white lives." That's really all it is. These idiots feel like the great replacement. They feel like they're being replaced, but what are you being replaced with? Are you guys upset that, you know, more black and brown babies are being born and the population of white people is decreasing? It doesn't mean that you're being erased. It just means that people are, you know, loving and doing other people. You're not being replaced. But whatever, you guys. I can't go into any deeper into that. But let me know what you guys think about that, and we'll discuss it in the comment section, guys. Let's pause here and wrap up. All right, you guys, so the last thing that I want to say is congratulations are in order to Summer Walker. So Summer Walker and her boyfriend Larry are expecting a child together. So this is her second child. I don't know if it's his first or not, but it's her second. You know, her first is with London on the track, and girl, you know, she's talking about this one is gonna be better. This baby dad is gonna be better than the first. I'm like, well, the warning signs were the red flags, the warning signs, his other baby mamas. They forewarned you, but you didn't listen to them. So you get what you get, honestly. Hate to say it like that, but hey, it is what it is. Oh, you guys also forgot to mention something with the Roe versus Wade. Vasectomies have gone up. But yeah, you guys, that's all I got for you guys. Drop down in the comments, you guys. Leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, actually, you guys, we do this the same time, same place, same channel every week. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, you guys, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.